Good day, everyone. Today is August 17th, 2010, and I am Darko. Uh, I thank you again for joining me in this video series for this news bulletin. And this first video I want to cover is basically the floods in Pakistan, the latest on the BP, oil, and the food contamination situation, more floods in China, and what's going on with the Russian wildfires. This first article up is Flood Victims Mob Relief Trucks in Pakistan, and this is from the AP. And it says victims of Pakistan's deadly floods mobbed relief trucks carrying food Tuesday, and authorities in Northwest warned of famine unless the region's farmers got immediate help with planting new crops. The floods began 3 weeks ago, but there's little signs conditions are improving for some 20 million people, or 1 in 9 in Pakistanis who are affected. Tens of thousands of villages remain underwater, and officials feared that more flooding could be on the way. The already shaky and unpopular government has been sorely tested by the disaster, which is complicating the U.S.-backed campaign against Islamist militants. The international community is rushing water, medicine, and shelter and aid workers to the country, but aid groups and the British government have complained that the response has been too slow and not generous enough. President Zardari's reputation sank to new lows after he chose to visit Europe on a state visit as the crisis unfolded. In a meeting with local groups, Zardari acknowledged Tuesday that the disaster response has not been very good. This next article is from Yahoo, and it's titled "One-Fifth of Pakistanis Underwater as Flooding Disaster Continues." And it says 1/5 of Pakistan is still underwater after 3 weeks of devastating floods, and as many as 6 million affected people have not yet received any relief. Pakistan's National Disaster Management Authority told CNN. The UN's Chief Ban Ki-moon said Sunday from Pakistan that the flood disaster is the worst he's ever seen, characterizing the destruction as more dire than that caused by the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami and the 2005 Pakistani earthquake. Says Ban urged the international community to send more relief funds to the area. The country now has just $93 million of estimated $460 million needed to provide flood relief. About 1 in 10 Pakistanis, that's 20 million people altogether, have been affected by the flooding, according to estimates from the Pakistani government. About 1,500 people are feared dead, and at least 2 million are homeless, according to the UN estimates. The country's most populous province, Punjab, was also one of the worst hit areas. Relief agencies and the government are still tallying damage to millions of acres of farms. And here we go. It says, now experts worry about disease spreading. About 3.5 million children are at risk for dysentery and other diseases caused by drinking dirty water, warned the United Nations. The UN is also worried that cholera epidemic could spread. A few cases have already been detected in many villages with no health care. And recently there's just been this news about this superbug, and I'm always wary and kind of skeptical about things like that because I always think of eugenics right off the bat, and whether this thing is man-made, where did it come from, and oh, it came from Pakistan, so just got to remember that. But yeah, they'll definitely become, the United Nations will definitely be coming in with their tents and their vaccinations. Because people get some diarrhea and that, but this is from the globeandmail.com. Pakistan flood survivors protest slow aid. Angry flood survivors block highway, forecast calls for more flooding. And it says angry flood survivors in Pakistan blocked a highway to protect slow delivery of aid, and heavy rain lashed makeshift housing Monday as forecast more flooding increased the urgency of the massive international flood relief. Pakistan's worst floods in history began more than 2 weeks ago in the mountainous northwest and have spread throughout the country. About 20 million people and 160,000 square kilometers of land, about 1/5 of the country, has been affected. The scale of disaster has raised concerns it could destabilize the country, which is pivotal to U.S. hopes of defeating al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Mind you, that these, quote, militants are actually out there with aid helping the people as well. So says protesters, oh here There you go. Hundreds of victims blocked a major highway with stones and garbage near the hard-hit Sukrvi area, complaining they were being treated like animals. Protester Kalu Manjinia said government officials only came to hand out food when the media were present. They are throwing packets of food to us like we were dogs. They are making people fight for these packets. Does this sound familiar? It sounds like what? Like Haiti, when they had an earthquake right before. And this is to me, whether this is a real disaster or man-made disaster, I'm not really sure, but I just think the timing is, I guess, coincidental with the whole WikiLeaks targeting Pakistan, and then all of a sudden you got a plane crash, a little bit of heavy rain, and then you get these floods, and now you have troops on the ground. Presence of U.S. troops on Pakistani soil brings controversy. August 14th, 2010. I actually wasn't aware of this. I knew that they had drones there. There was drones and 5 helicopters that were sent, and some money and water and whatever was sent to Pakistan from the United States. But now they have Marines there. You see, guys? So you do a little cloud seeding, you can get a lot done. I mean, it's already known that we've been carrying out CIA drone bombing missions or strikes and surveillance missions, killing innocent civilians and that. So there is a little anti-U.S. sentiment. So what do you do to build, relations? Well, you cloud seed, you create a bunch of floods, you know that it's going to disperse people, you know that it's going to cause backlash against the government because the government's not going to be able to handle this. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? In the U.S., you think if something like this happened in the U.S., that it would be different? No. It would be the same thing as Haiti and Pakistan, right? One of the richest countries in the world. Well, not really anymore, but hypothetically, right? The U.S. is still kind of a superpower. Dude, it would be the same thing in Haiti or Pakistan. You'd have food getting thrown at people like they were animals, okay? This is how it goes. So if you are the U.S. and you are trying to occupy the entire Middle East for whatever political, reasons, and the country that you're trying to occupy, specifically Pakistan now, they don't really like it because you're flying planes in there and killing people, and you're saying that, and they're claiming that they're helping you. Well, what do? You cloud seed, you cause a bunch of floods where you know the people aren't going to get help, and they're going to ask for help, and then you go in there right away with planes and water and then troops and then guns, and then all of a sudden, you see, you don't have to ask the country, you don't have to have a puppet dictator like they have right now and they've had in Pakistan that's pro-West, and the people that are not really pro-West. You don't have to necessarily have that. You just have to, like I said, modify the weather, create a situation and manipulate the environment around the people so that you don't have to force people to do something. You just have to change their environment, and then that will get them to do what you want them to do, which is now all of a sudden you have Marines on the ground in Pakistan. You see? It's very, very, it's called kind of like soft power. It's very, very sneaky, I guess this is the best word. It's devious, but it's effective. It's an effective strategy. 36 killed, hundreds injured in New China flooding. It says 36 killed, hundreds injured in the latest flooding from heavy rains in China's Gansu province. It says this is from the AP. At least 36 people have died and 23 others are missing in fresh flooding from the torrential rains in China's Gansu province, the latest in a string of natural disasters to strike China. One of the big, China has the biggest weather modification program in the world, guys. Just so you know that. Just go look up in the mainstream media in Time and type it up, and you'll see. They're bragging about it. The official Xinhua news agency reported that the deaths came Monday from flooding in Logan City near Zaku. Zaku is where at least 1,200 people were killed in the mudslide triggered by heavy rain crashed through the city on August 8th. The government says another 490 people are still missing from that disaster. Since August 11th, heavy rains have pelted several counties in Logan City, triggering landslides. It says the latest flooding left 295 people injured and more than 6,000 homes collapsed. As from Time, LA shrimpers report clean first day catch, and it says commercial shrimpers out for the first season since BP's disaster spill indicated their catch was plentiful and free of oil, despite a report by scientists that much of the crude remains below the surface of the Gulf. And yeah, Barack Obama went swimming, and he had some greasy food, and it's all good, guys. Out of sight, out of mind. Love that corrects it.